So finally, here's my very first print. And I'm using this translucent filament because I want to be able to see the magnets inside the rotor houses. This is just a plain box with a very thin wall and a thin base. Just want to see how it's doing. So far, it's looking okay, I guess. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so far so good. After this print, if it's successful, I'm going to print the first of the parts I need for my magnetic motors. I'm going to print the bearing housings, or the bearing, but I'm not sure what you'd call them. Bearing supports, so it'll allow me to go from a 6 millimeter rod OD to an 8 millimeter ceramic bearing ID. I decided to do this to do an offset like this instead of going from up above. This didn't make any sense to me. The the filament would have to come down and have a wicked bend to me to go into the extruder. So this seemed just far to make more sense. And this thing was only a few dollars. I probably could have made it, but I didn't want to wait. But yeah, I can't freaking believe it that it's working first time. But it should. I spent a lot of time, and I mean weeks, reading up, preparing, studying, learning the software, building the hardware. So hopefully all that paid off. Very cool. I can't believe it came out perfect first time. So there is a little bit of ghosting there. I don't know if you can see it. You can see that little line that goes kind of a third of the way through. I bumped into the printer, so I think that's what caused it. But that is cool, man. And it's just an empty box just to test it. But now I'm going to print the bearing holders or sleeves or whatever you want to call them. But that is so cool. And I like this translucent. And again, I got this so that I could see the bearings when I finally print the rotor housing. I mean, I did this so I could see the magnets. Very cool. So all of the setup work and the blah blah blah, so I gotta wait. Each time it stops printing, it cools off the head, which is kind of weird, and then it has to reheat it up again. And it's running off of a micro flash drive. And so when the bed gets up to 200 degrees, which I'm doing what the presets in this said to do. I know other people say, well, if you're doing PLA, you should do 210 or 205, but I'm doing what the preset said. All right, I'll show you what this looks like when this is done. Because this one's going to have, oh, there it goes. This one's going to have supports, and it's going to have a raft because they're small parts. So I figured it might be a smart idea to do a raft. And it always does this one line down here first, which is fine. I mean, I guess that's what it's supposed to do. I suppose I could change that, but I'm not going to. So now it'll do a circle, or kind of like oh, it's making the raft now. Cool. All right, so here's my first functional print. This is the bearing holder. So I have a 6 milligram hole there, and that's an 8 millimeter 6 millimeter hole, 8 millimeter shaft piece. So oops, I got to be careful because if you put vibrations on here, so the bearing will go on here, the shaft will go in here, and there is my first rotor print. So instead of printing a giant rotor, I'm printing two small halves, or two small pieces that'll sit on either end of the rotor and hold the magnets. And we'll see how that works, because this is already going to take like almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I figure instead of doing one large one, I'll do two small ones and just see how that works.